So welcome everyone.
Yeah. She has a small question.
Yes, already.
She's asking, what does Hare Krishna mean?
Okay. Very nice question. First of all, tell me, do you know the full mantra?
Yeah, she does.
Why were you not singing then? Can you chant the mantra for us? Either of you all. I think some kids might come.
Everything for 2 days.
Oh, okay.
And they are like, we're going to meet new friends. We're going to meet new friends.
Right. Hare Krishna.
Hare.
So that last week, right?
Yeah, that's super.
I think that is out. He won't be joining. Others might. Priyanka must do something. Sounds like an instrument. Okay. So let's welcome. What's your name?
Prasad.
Prasad.
Riya.
Riya. How did you all come to know about the class? Your friends. Okay. So let's welcome Prasad and Riya, right? Or Diya?
Riya.
Riya. Okay. Let's welcome them by loudly chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra once. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay. So we begin with our pranam mantras. Those who know can follow, others can hear. Om Ajnanatinandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gautrangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Both of you will have a chant together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So what is the meaning of this mantra? Meaning is, oh Krishna, oh energy of Krishna, right? Who's the energy of Krishna? Srimati Radharani, right? So, oh energy of Krishna, please engage me in Krishna's service. You know who's Krishna? How about you? You know who's Krishna? Why are you biting him? Have you not had your food? Okay, anyways, we'll move ahead. So we were, I think, last time we finished at 5, 6. We will start from 6. Yeah. Not able to share. Some of you know, I think I need to change my lack of settings to share the database. Just give me a minute, I'll try. Otherwise, if you can also can share. Are you connected?
It's a Zoom call or what?
Zoom call. No, if you're not connected, ठीक है. 2 मिनट जो मैं try कर लेता. I thought you were already connected. But no, connect करने में time चला जाएगा. Hold on. I can share. Okay, so let's do a quick recap of what we heard last time, or anything in the 9th chapter, since we've just begun the 9th chapter. Anyone remembers anything of the 9th chapter? So we are at 9.6. Anything you remember from the 9th chapter? What is the title of 9th chapter? Most confidence in knowledge. Okay, how does Krishna begin the chapter? What is the chapter about? Why is it called most confidential knowledge? Did a skit. Commander Prabhu?
Not sure.
Not sure.
Relationship
At least
and Paramatma.
Okay.
So that part actually he tried to explain in this chapter that first class devotee, second class devotee, third class devotee. What is the differences actually? So that like a person who don't know anything but he do bhakti, he may fall into second class. Devotee is a guy who also know about Krishna and his pastime. So for that person should read at least these like Bhagavad-gita.
Okay.
And nothing, and he should do bhakti as well. That is the class one. Third class is like obvious, they don't follow anything.
What class are we in? So are we not trying to read Bhagavad-gita?
We are trying, but we can't read in the house. Still we have not yet completed. So journey is along with him.
So just एक बार पढ़ लिया so he's first class.
No. Then still now we go I have gone through one Bhagavad-gita. Still I think it is along with him. Because reading and practicing,
So as per your definition, somebody who's gone through scriptures and वो भक्ति भी कर रहा है, तो वो first class है.
He should practice it and he should genuinely do bhakti.
Okay.
People read it, but there are very few people who really follow it.
Okay.
So there's a difference, and that's why I said I am interested.
Probably isn't about faith. How much faith you have.
Yes.
first class, I think probably has the most faith.
Right.
He can convince also about
Correct.
Krishna.
Exactly. Yes. So first class devotee is someone who can convince anyone about Krishna consciousness. Second class also preaches, and of course he can also convince others, but may not be as good as the first class. But he can himself definitely is firmly fixed in his practice. Right, as a second class devotee. Third class Kanishta Adhikari is people with Komal Shraddha, very weak faith. Right. So कुछ चेंज हो गया मटेरियल पोजीशन में कुछ चेंज हो गया कहीं किसी ने कुछ और बोल दिया तो वी आर swayed away easily, right?
So you mean they get faith when they want something, right? Like मतलब say
हाँ, so
business खराब जा रहा है तो चल
हाँ।
भगवान के पास के ठीक है।
नहीं मैं तो कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस ट्राई किया मेरे को बिजनेस में फायदा नहीं हुआ लेट मी ट्राई गणेश जी वैसा हो गया so these are people who have ulterior motive. Anyways, Krishna describes four kinds of people who come to him with different motives also. So they have some initial faith, right, because of which they come. And some people once they are वो मतलब निकल गया तो फिर वो अपने रास्ते हो जाते हैं कुछ लोग while they come for some motive but then they fall in love with the process of Krishna consciousness itself because they experience the reciprocation of the Lord and they understand intellectually that yes this is the all in all and then they pursue. So those are people who actually go on and may rise to a level of Madhyama like that. Hare Krishna. So very interesting about faith. I'll just add since we talked about faith. We were just hearing yesterday. So there are 9 processes of devotional service. What are the 9 processes? Sorry, 9 processes. What are the 9? Adar, Shraddha, Tadha, Sadhu, Sang. Bhajan, Kriya, Nishtha, Ruchi, Bhav and Prem. Right? So these are 9 stages of from having some preliminary faith up till prema, actually having love for Godhead. Right? The entire 9 processes are there. So again, just to समझ में नहीं आया किसको तो प्लीज रोक करके मुझे बोलेगा बिकॉज थोड़ा संस्कृत है राइट तो अगर हिंदी या इंग्लिश में सुनना है तो मतलब वो वर्ड अगर समझ में नहीं आया तो यू कैन ऑलवेज स्टॉप मी एंड आस्क राइट सो आदर श्रद्धा मींस बिगिनिंग इनिशियल फेथ with initial faith you actually connect with sadhu right you have some initial faith you sit in here or किसी ने बोल दिया अरे यहाँ पे अच्छा क्लास चल रहा है भगवद गीता क्लास में आ गए राइट सो साधु संघ इतने सारे साधुओं का संघ है राइट सो आदो श्रद्धा तथा साधु संघ भजन क्रिया so with sadhu संघ sadhu will motivate you to do bhajan kriya right he'll request you to chant Hare Krishna he'll sit and discuss Bhagavad-gita and Bhagavatam and he'll induce you to serve Krishna bhajan kriya and with bhajan kriya what happens anartha nivritti slowly and steadily all the dirt in the heart starts going away right when all is clear almost nashta prayeshu abhadreshu almost clear right not completely clear but most of the major anarthas are cleared from the heart then nishtha firm faith in Krishna is established. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So firm faith in Krishna is established. These are also your friends? Okay. Welcome. Hare Krishna. So firm faith in Krishna is established. And then from there, so till Nishtha is like climbing a mountain with a lot of load. Because so many anarthas, jitne anartha thoda aisa load kam hota jayega and we are still struggling to climb the mountain. It's an uphill task. Beyond Nishtha, right? What is that? Ruchi, Asakti, Bhav and Prem. So once you are Nishtha tak aa gaye, Nishtha ke aage Ruchi, right? Which means till now, the mind was against you. Mind was the enemy. It was stopping you from practicing Krishna consciousness. Like, अरे हमको बोर हो रहा है कुछ और करते हैं, right? We need more entertainment, etc., etc. So till Nishtha, it's a struggle with the mind. But then, after Nishtha, it's a downhill process, right? Because now Ruchi means the mind is interested in Krishna, right? शरीर साथ भी नहीं दे रहा हो तो भी mind will jump, अरे आज जाना है, right? Automatically. So that's Ruchi, then advances into Bhav, Asakti, Bhav and Prem. Asakti is like, you cannot live without Krishna. And Bhav means you're having transcendental emotions, or Rati, right? Your severe attachment, right? And you develop a particular mood to serve Krishna. And then Prema, right? So till date, I used to think that, oh, these are all, incremental, these are like steps, you go one by one. Yesterday I learned that it's not just steps, right? So it's not that once you cross one stage only, then you enter the other stage. It's not like that, right? With each stage, each progression, the previous stage expands, right? So Ado Shraddha, when you do Sadhu Sang, Shraddha expands, right? When you do Bhajan Kriya, the Sadhu Sang expands, Shraddha expands even further, right? When you're Anarth Nivritti and Nishtha, all the other below one expands even further. So it becomes like a pyramid till prema. So somebody who's having prema has the maximum amount of Shraddha or faith, right? So it's progression of faith, progression of other things as well. So that's something I learned yesterday. Okay, so let's. Any other points? Yes. Please sit on.
That's a occasional problem.
Please, yes, go ahead. If you want to stand, if you want to sit on the chair, you also please sit on the chair. Huh? Yeah. If you're tired, sit on the chair. Huh? There's no issue in sitting on the chair. Yeah. Okay. Any other points from last class?
Yeah. Last class, I really like the point Bhaveshwari Mataji said that there's a lady who's saying कि मेरा तो बहुत interest है, I'm very innocently attracted to Krishna and
Talking to Krishna. Yes.
talking to Krishna and she's telling the person who's chanting that I don't need to do all this. I'm though spontaneously attracted to Krishna. I'm not using the exact words she said.
I speak to Krishna every day. Such an impact.
तो क्या जरूरत है chant करने की? ये सब तो so I like this point that the way she explained.
Yeah. So we imagine us. First of all, I think there are two issues with that. I'm sure. I think Mataji mentioned also, and don't remember it clearly. But two issues with that. One is lack of understanding of how huge or how deep the practice of devotional service is. It's like on a superficial level. उनको पता ही नहीं है. It's like a frog in the well situation, right? तो जैसे डॉक्टर फ्रॉग अच्छा स्टोरी बताते हैं, right? उनको लगता है कि हाँ, this is devotion. This well itself इतना ही है. भगवान से बात कर लिया, हो गया, right? Oh, I am such a great devotee. They might think, but then they don't realize that's an ocean, right? So they've not even touched the surface yet. So one is the lack of understanding of the depth and the width of the nectar of the ocean of devotion. And the second is ignorance, of course, of the practice itself. And third is thinking that, oh, I am very, very elevated. मेरे को क्या जरूरत है? But it's devotion is actually devotional service. Prabhupada translates bhakti as devotional service. It's not just some feelings, right? I was it's funny actually. I was speaking to one devotee, and there's one Mataji who would come on and off. So I asked him, "कि वो आ नहीं रहे?" So he said, "अरे हाँ, वो जब मन करता है." मतलब अभी तो आए थे. हाँ, that was hormonal. जब उनके हार्मोन्स का ऐसा क्या है, अभी तो कृष्णा से प्रेम करना चाहिए मुझे जाकर के. So it'll be like too much into it and then completely out of it for the year. So that was very funny. So he described it in a very nice way. So these things are like almost like horrible. Ha ha, I'm loving Krishna, and then suddenly for the entire year you're not loving Krishna. So yeah, that was a nice point there. Yes. Any other points from the last class or the previous? Anything about the ninth chapter? Okay, for those who've just come, we'll quickly touch upon some basic things on the ninth chapter, and then we'll continue from the shloka. So okay. So Bhagavad-gita started, Arjuna being in trouble, etc., and Krishna, yeah, he's surrendering to Krishna, and Krishna starting his instructions. He talked about how you're not this body, you're the soul. Second chapter is almost like a summary. Third chapter, fifth chapter, he's talking about, karma yoga. Sixth chapter, third to fifth actually. He talks about karma yoga. Then sixth chapter onwards, he explains what are, different processes to attain God, right? Different types of yogas, etc. So from there, he explains that. And seventh to 12th chapter, right? Chapter 7 to 12 is actually devotional service. So bhakti yoga. अलग अलग योग समझा दिए. छठे चैप्टर में तो ध्यान योग भी समझा दिया. 7 से 12, right? Middle 6 chapter is the cream, bhakti yoga. And then he again, rest 13 to 18, he explains ज्ञान yoga. So you see, कोई भी मूवी देखते हैं, right? तो climax कब आता है? At the end. Here it's in the middle. Right? The main part is right in the middle. In fact, even if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So Srimad Bhagavatam में first chapter में भगवान बोलते थे कृष्ण स्वधाम पगते, right? Krishna's gone. Right? The end part is almost like picture का end अभी बता दिया. फिर बाद में पूरा back story चालू होता है. Like that. So that's the beauty of how Krishna or even Vyasdev kind of explains all these things. It's not just like regular movies. अभी वो लोग थोड़ा they're trying to catch up. They'll show something and then फिर flashback में पूरा movie दिखाएंगे. कहाँ से सीखा ये से सीखा. So like that, ninth chapter actually is the essence of the essence of Bhagavad-gita. Like 7 to 12 is really the essence, talking about Bhakti Yoga. And in the beginning, 7th and 8th chapters, Krishna is explaining his Aishwarya Gyan, right? He's talking about his opulences more. Here also he'll talk about his opulences, but then he'll also talk about, so greatness of the Lord plus sweetness, the sweetness aspect, how he relates to different devotees is explained in this particular chapter. So the first few shlokas, up till the sixth, I'll explain. The first few shlokas, they actually, Krishna is expressing his emotions, right? In the entire Bhagavad Gita, Krishna expresses his emotions twice, in the 9th chapter and the 18th chapter. So he's expressing his emotions, and he begins with glorifying this knowledge, right? Bhakti is extremely attractive to Krishna, right? You can attract Krishna by no other means. Krishna says in the previous chapter, Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati, right? So you can attract Krishna by no other means except for Bhakti. So here Krishna is getting a chance to glorify Bhakti. So in the first few shlokas, he's saying most confidential knowledge, Raja Vidya Raja Guyam, Pavitram Idam Uttamam, Prataksha Bhagmam Dharmyam, Su Sukham Kartamam. It is the most confidential knowledge. This particular chapter is most confidential knowledge, and king of all knowledge. It's most secret. It's joyfully performed, and he's giving it to Arjuna. He's giving the spelling the qualification also. He's explaining this to Arjuna because Arjuna is non-envious. He's a friend and a devotee, and he's not envious of Krishna. So he goes on to glorify in the first two shlokas, the chapter itself and the knowledge itself. And then he starts explaining his Aishwarya Gyan again connected to what he explained in the 7th chapter. So why he's explaining his Aishwarya Gyan is because we need to understand the greatness of the Lord before trying to get to the sweetness part. We need to understand who we are talking about, right? So that's what he's doing right now also from shloka 9.6 up till 9.10 or 9.9 rather. He explains his opulences, right? And then from 10, 11 onwards, the subject matter kind of tilts or shifts a little bit. Okay, so let's chant the 6th shloka. यथा आकाशस्थितो नित्यं वायु सर्वत्र गो महान् तथा सर्वाणि भूतानि मत्स्थानि उपधारया यथा आकाशस्थितो नित्यं वायु सर्वत्र गो महान् तथा सर्वाणि भूतानि मत्स्थानि उपधारया. Anyone would like to chant? यथा आकाशस्थितो नित्यं वायु सर्वत्र गो महान् तथा सर्वाणि भूतानि मत्स्थानि उपधारया.
यथाकास्थितो नित्यं वायु
यथा आकाशस्थितो नित्यं
वायु सर्वत्र गो महान्
वायु सर्वत्र गो महान्
तथा सर्वाणि भूतानि
तथा सर्वाणि भूतानि
स्थानित्युपधारय
मत्स्थानि उपधारया.
यथा यथाकाशस्थितो नित्यं वायु सर्वत्र गो महान्
वायु सर्वत्र गो महान्
तथा सर्वाणि भूतानि
तथा सर्वाणि भूतानि
मत्स्थानीति उपाध्याय
मत्स्थानि उपधारया. Don't try.
यथाकास्थितो नित्यं
यथा आकाशस्थितो नित्यं
वायु सर्वत्र गो
वायु सर्वत्र गो महान्
तथा
सर्वाणि भूतानि
तस्य इत्युपधारय
मत्स्थानि उपधारया. यथा आकाशस्थितो नित्यं वायु सर्वत्र गो महान् तथा सर्वाणि भूतानि मत्स्थानि उपधारया. Okay, translation. Someone can read. Yeah, go ahead.
as the mighty wind blowing everywhere always rests in ethereal space. Know that in the same manner all beings rest in me.
Okay. So, in the previous shloka, Krishna is saying, right, by my manifested form, in the fourth shloka, Krishna is saying, by me, in my manifested form, the entire universe is pervaded, all beings are in me, but I am not in them. Then he goes on to say that, and yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. So one time he's saying that everything is resting in him, right, by his mystic power, but I'm not in them. And then he's saying ki, and yet everything created does not rest in me. एक बार बोला कि everything rests in me. Second time he's saying everything does not rest in me. Right? Behold my mystic opulence. Although I'm the maintainer of all living entities, and although I'm everywhere, I'm not part of this cosmic manifestation. So Krishna is saying that I'm maintainer, I'm everywhere. Right? He's there in every atom. And yet he's not a part of the cosmic manifestation. How is this possible?
He talks about when zero percent which take everybody's heart is Sakshi. So in that form, he is available everywhere, and he is available. Everybody resides in him. And at the same time, Vishnu is not influenced by this cosmic energy. So at the same time, say Mahavishnu or say Krishna, he is not influenced by these things and has nothing to do with it.
Right. Yes. So, very good answer. So actually, absolute truth, right? Absolute truth of Krishna is full of contradictions, right? भगवान एक चीज बोलेंगे फिर उसका right opposite चीज बोलेंगे, and then both are true, not that only one is true. So all contradictions can live in harmony or synergy in the Supreme Lord, right? अभी हमारे में वो पॉसिबल नहीं है. Either I'm inside the room or I'm outside the room. Right? I cannot be both. And I cannot say then कि I'm nowhere. ये भी नहीं बोल सकता मैं. But Krishna can say that. Right? And Prabhuji nicely explained that how is that possible. So Krishna, as one of his expansions, right, as Shirodakshay Vishnu, is present in every atom. Right? इसको थोड़ा आगे रख देते हैं. How Krishna Shirodakshay Vishnu is present in every atom, and he's actually, because of him, everything is working. Right? Everything is maintained. So he's present everywhere, and yet Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is aloof also. He's staying in his own Goloka Vrindavan, right? And yet that Goloka Vrindavan is very dynamic. It can manifest in the material world, can manifest anywhere, right? Jai Dina Grihe Bhajana Dekhi Grihete Goloka Bhaya, right? Bhaktivinoda Thakur is singing, the day you have Kirtan in your house, you have glorification of Krishna in your house, and the devotees assembling together and glorifying Krishna and singing Kirtan, right? Grihete Goloka Bhaya. Golok Vrindavan manifests right there. It's very, very dynamic, right? So if you want to make your house Golok, you can, arrange some Kirtan program. So, so like that, Krishna is filled with all contradictions, and here he is saying, he is again describing further his opulences. Understand that, and he's giving this by an example. So he's here giving an example. Understand that as the mighty wind blowing everywhere rests always in the sky, all created beings rest in me. Right? So the wind, right? Wind को कौन control कर सकता है? Wind को कौन माप सकता है? Yeah, who can contain the air or the entire air of the universe? Right? But here Krishna is giving the example, just like the wind is contained within the sky. Sky is again space, unlimited. So that it is containing the wind. Just like that, all living beings, although they may seem like unlimited, right, all over the universe, as a countless lagega, but they're all contained or they're all resting in me. And Prabhupada writes in the purport, for the ordinary person, it is almost inconceivable how huge material creation is resting in him. But the Lord is giving the example which may help us understand. The sky may be the biggest manifestation we can conceive. And the sky, and in the sky, wind or air is the biggest manifestation in the cosmic world. The movement of air influences movement of everything, right? Because of the wind, right? There are ocean waves, right? I make map dekha tha pura. So how the air circulates, because of which there are waves in the ocean, because of which there are seasons and cycles, etc. It's all actually because of the wind, right? And even within our bodies, right? That's that on a macro level in the universe, everything is working, moving because of the wind. Even within our bodies, right? Thanks to she listening to a lot of yoga classes, I understand that how everything, or even actually Prabhupada described in 6th chapter, how everything is controlled in our body with the 5 kinds of airs that is there, right? Even the yogis, they try to control their breath, right? Because of which they can actually prolong their lives. So all our systems in the body are also somehow or the other moving because of the air, movement of the air in the body, right? And it is said that somebody who masters pranayam, for example, or who's able to do pranayam very, very nicely, can live disease-free, correct? So the one who is able to, gain mastery over controlling the airs in the body can actually live disease-free. So, yeah. Then I think the last para we'll jump to. So here, there's a shloka from Brahma Samhita, Prabhupada is describing. Yachakshuresha savita sakala grahana raja samasta sura murti rashesha tejaha yashagnaya brahmati samrita kala chakro govindam adipurusham tamaham bhajami. So, by the supreme order of under the superintendence of Supreme Lord, the moon and the sun or the other great planets are moving. So that's the translation for the shloka. And then Prabhupada describes that this is the description of the movement of sun. It is said that the sun is considered to be one of the eyes of the Supreme Lord, and that it has immense potency to diffuse heat and light. Still, it is moving in its prescribed orbit by the order of the supreme will of Govinda. So from the Vedic literatures, we can find evidence that this material manifestation, which appears to us to be very wonderful and great, is under the complete control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this will be further explained later in the later verses of this chapter. So the essence of the idea is that for us, it may be, unimaginable of how these things are moving, or of course, right now we have some telescopes or things like that. We still can, comprehend some things, but exactly how all this functions in a very, very macro level is inconceivable almost. Right? So, but here,
About all this. You don't even think
yeah,
about
normal days we don't even think, "Arey, sun kaise chal raha hai?" We don't even think about it, right? Or take for that matter कि अरे sun में कौन सा gas burn हो रहा होगा जिसकी वजह से इतना heat है, जिसकी वजह से इतना light है, right? Yeah, there are some people who have dedicated their lives to thinking about these things, some scientists, but ordinarily we don't think about it, right? And they're still trying to figure out. In fact, there is one. If you sorry, you want to say something?
They talk about fusion technology.
Fusion technology. So the scientists are still trying to figure out. There's a very nice video, a series of videos actually, by His Grace Pavaneshwar Prabhu. If anyone has time, if you want to kind of tease your brain a little bit, something beyond incomprehensible you want to kind of explore. So he's explaining Vedic cosmology, and really it's extremely interesting. एक बार आप चालू कर दो, थोड़ा सा आगे चले जाओ ना, then you won't be able to kind of stop. It's very, very interesting. So it basically describes where the earth is, where the sun is, how they're moving, and you have the version of material science, how they're describing the movements of the sun and the moon, etc. And you have the Vedic version, which seems like really powerful.
Which doctor?
Pavaneshwar Prabhu. He has a series on Vedic cosmology. So on YouTube, there are some 9 to 12 parts, I think. And each part is like 1.5 hours or 2 hours, but amazing. Very interesting. So just to make it थोड़ा सा ऐसा controversial सुनाई देगा, but just to give you a glimpse of that. So he's describing how as per modern science, the earth is floating, correct? And it's rotating also, and it's revolving around the sun, correct? So as per Vedic science, the earth is not revolving around the sun is revolving around the earth, right? And Einstein also said that it's actually the relative motion that counts. We don't know whether the sun is revolving or the earth is revolving around the sun. So that's still okay, right? But as per Vedic science, they're describing how earth is not floating. Again, बहुत सारा controversial सुनाई देगा, but it's there in the scriptures. So earth is not floating. It's actually just like a golf ball, right? Golf ball को हम वो पिन में खड़ा करते हैं, correct? पिन को गाड़ देते हैं और golf ball को खड़ा करके फिर भी, So like that, there are, there's earth is almost standing like on a small, maybe a cone or something, which is made of ice, because then that's connected to the causal ocean, right? Causal ocean is, Mahavishnu ki navel mein pura ocean. Mahavishnu is lying in the causal ocean. So it's connected to the causal ocean. And because it's so dark and it's so cold, some parts are frozen. So this frozen thing is actually holding the earth up, and it's connected to the South Pole. And then he goes on to back up what he's saying by talking about how there have been expeditions. हमको क्या लगेगा रे, South Pole satellites already देख चुका होगा ना अगर वहां पे तो. So he's given a map, very scientific. He's actually a scientist. He's given a map of where all our satellites are going. None of the satellites have ever gone to the South Pole. There are expeditions taken up by different groups, right? So, and most of these people are writing in their diaries. There are huge mountains, jiska peak bhi dikhta nahi in South Pole, right? Extending beyond what we can even see, right? And they don't appear like mountains; they appear like columns, right? So that kind of somehow supports what Bhagavatam is describing. So very interesting. If anyone wants to explore, have a scientific bent of mind can go ahead and explore.
South Pole and North Pole, both are ice.
No. Both are ice, but South Pole is where, it's holding up literally. Anyways, that was a controversial topic till it's proven. But at least it's there in Bhagavatam. So for me, it's not controversial. So like that, I mean, there are so many things which we may think, "Arey, humko to pata hai," lekin actually we don't know. Like our oceans, for example, only 7% of the oceans have been explored. Forget the South Pole. Even the oceans are just explored 7%. That's it. हमको पता नहीं कि अभी कौन species अंदर है, क्या अंदर है, right? So it's all a mystery, and we're all trying to kind of discover and figure out कि क्या है ये, how it works, etc. So even to understand how our Earth works is like a big mystery. And if you actually go and stand, we were there in Rameshwaram. I think last year only we were there in Rameshwaram. So just to stand at the edge and look at the ocean, so massive, right? Huge. You'll be lost thinking, you'll feel so tiny just in front of an ocean. You'll feel like nothing. So what to speak of the entire planet? What to speak of maybe the entire solar system or galaxy, etc. So to understand or comprehend sometimes becomes really difficult. But that everything is actually just but a small spark of Krishna's splendor. Right? Just a small energy. Everything is maintained, everything is run and created. Okay, let's go to the next one. Sarvabhutani Kaunteya Prakritim Yanti Mamikam Kalpakshaye Punastani Kalpagavishajamyaham Sarvabhutani Kaunteya Prakritim Yanti Mamikam Kalpakshaye Punastani Kalpagavishajamyaham. You ready? Hare Krishna.
O son of Kuntī, the end of the millennium.
So everything, the entire creation actually, at the end of the millennium, all the manifestation enter in my nature, and at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again. So the entire material creation goes through 3 cycles. It's a cycle actually. It goes through 3 stages, right? It has a beginning, there's maintenance, right? And it gets destroyed. So you notice everything, it works in cycles in nature, right? Water cycle, food chain, everything. It all works in cycle because these are all systems designed by the Lord. So here Prabhupada is giving the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this material cosmic manifestation are completely depend on the supreme will of the personality of Godhead. At the end of millennium means at the death of Brahma. So what is the end of millennium? Millennium is not just 100 years like our definition. Prabhupada is saying that after 4,300,000 years, right? Sorry, or 4.3 million years. 4.3 million years, right? Not 43,000. 4.3 million years, which means one Divya Yuga, one set of 4 yugas.
The Mahayuga.
It's called Divya Yuga.
It's called Divya.
Yeah. Set of 4 yugas, Satyuga, Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga, Kali Yuga, put together is called a Divya Yuga, right? So at the end of Divya Yuga, that's one. Oh, here actually the millennium, sorry, my bad. Millennium is called as death of Brahma. Sorry. So that's even further. So that's 311 trillion, 423 billion earthly years. So that's a millennium. And after, okay. So here basically Prabhupada is giving the calculation, and then when again after the death of Brahma, new Brahma is born, right? New Brahma takes that position and then he creates again. Actually, this annihilation happens multiple times. There are multiple parallels. One is at the end of Brahma's life. One is actually at the end of every day of Brahma. Uske pehle bhi, after every manvantara there is a pralaya. right? And there is a partial annihilation also at the change of yugas as well, like that. So there are multiple levels of pralaya happen. Okay, let's go to the next one. Prakritim swam avasthapya Vishrajami puna puna Bhutagramam imam kritsnam Avasham prakritir vashat Prakritim swam avasthapya Vishrajami puna puna Bhutagramam imam kritsnam Avasham prakritir vashat. Someone can read the translation. Would you like to read? Oh, okay. Sure. Anyone wants to read the translation?
I want to read.
Yes, Prabhu, go ahead.
The whole cosmic order is under me. Under my will, it is automatically manifested again and again. And under my will, it is annihilated at the end.
So, again, Krishna is reinforcing the fact that the whole cosmic manifestation, अंदर चला जाता है ऐसा automatically नहीं चलाता. It's not that it's not under Krishna's control and वो automatically, the lotus goes in Mahavishnu's navel. No, is the whole cosmic manifestation actually working under the order of Krishna, right? And under his will, it automatically manifests again and again and gets annihilated again and again. Which means what? What does this information tell us? Or how do we practically use this information? Whatever.
How do we practically?
How do we practically use this information? Kerala was only very nice.
दोबारा भी पैदा होना होगा
Okay.
तो कुछ और भी मेहनत करनी चाहिए.
Is it that anything that is created will always get destroyed?
Okay. Yeah,
That's
sure.
one way to look at it.
Yeah.
अच्छे कर्म करेंगे.
So the purpose is describing how on a cosmic level, creation, maintenance, annihilation is happening. On our levels also, right? When we die, right? The same thing happens when we die, right? We are forced into some other womb, right? So how do we end that cycle? Of course, that's one aspect to look at it. The other is that the Sloka is simply talking about, or Krishna is simply talking about how everything in the universe is under his control. How does that help?
Someone might think कि भगवान आप इतना सब कर रहे हो, मेरा छोटा प्रॉब्लम भी नहीं सॉल्व कर सकते.
Correct. Okay. Yes, very interesting. So at least that initial faith has been established after reading Bhagavad-gita कि yes, Krishna can do anything. Right? Conclusion is Krishna is under control of the entire manifestation, the entire creation, the entire universe, right? उनके कंट्रोल में, by his will, इच्छा मात्र से वो प्रकट हो जाता है और ध्वंस भी हो जाता है, right? So what is impossible for the Lord? Right? Still we doubt, अरे भगवान कर पाएंगे कि नहीं कर पाएंगे, भगवान मतलब बाकी सब तो कर लेते हैं, मेरा प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर पाएंगे कि नहीं कर पाएंगे, right? Let me put my मेरा दिमाग लगा करके मैं उसको सॉल्व करने की ट्राई करता हूँ, बट पता नहीं क्योंकि भगवान कर सकते हैं कि नहीं कर सकते, किसको पता है. मैंने तो ये पढ़ाई की, भगवान ने की कि नहीं, क्या वाला है, स्किल्स है कि नहीं, किसने देखा है,
पता नहीं है अभी. पता नहीं.
Oh, Krishna just knows how to play flute. He doesn't know how to solve this, management problem at my work, or he doesn't know how to solve this relationship problem.
In difficult situation, we say, okay, Krishna will do later.
Yeah, you have to put your endeavor for sure, right? You have to put your own endeavor, but then you are depending on Krishna. Like I think in the Leela of Agasur, I think we just discussed also a few weeks ago. In Agasur Leela, all the cowherd boys, they were happily going inside, although they understood that this could be Asur, right? Because of the bad breath. Agasur ne mouth freshener nahi use kiya tha, so, they could smell all the filth from inside. So because of that, and because of looking at those fangs, right? They understood that this could be a demon, although his mouth actually extended beyond the sky, and वो पूरा देख भी नहीं पा रहे थे, but they still could see some fangs, points of the fangs. So they understood this could be a demon, but still they were completely dependent on the Lord. Like ठीक है, कृष्णा है, देख लेंगे. Let us explore. ये गुफा भी लग रही है, असुर, लेकिन असुर भी है शायद. So let us explore. असुर है तो क्या हुआ, कृष्णा देख लेंगे. Full confidence on Krishna. And वहाँ पे कृष्णा घबरा रहे नहीं. ये लोग अंदर जा रहे हैं. So Krishna is also sometimes covered by Yogamaya Shakti. Yogamaya Shakti is Krishna's energy only, and Krishna has allowed Yogamaya to cover himself. Otherwise, he won't be able to enjoy those pastimes, right? He won't be able to have those feelings. Oh, my friends, he's like, I'm supreme. कर लूँगा यार, ठीक है, इच्छा मात्र से बाहर आ जाएंगे. ऐसा, so वहाँ पे भगवान को जादू करना अच्छा नहीं लगता. So he covers himself with Yogamaya, right, by his own will, to actually relish, the sweetness of that relationship and the pastime. So he's also feeling, hey, my parents are going inside, I need to do something, right? Otherwise they'll all die. So then he also enters, because his friends entered, he also enters. And then as soon as Krishna enters, one can return. So Krishna is actually in complete control. There's one devotee, I think I've mentioned this past time long back. There was a devotee, Prithu Prabhu, right? He's a proper disciple. So he was preaching in Russia. And वहाँ पर he was preaching to one, he was holding some programs in one of the church. And एक लड़का आता था regularly, who became very sincere. Started practicing Krishna consciousness very, very nicely. So after some time, वो चर्च का जो फादर था, उसने बोला पता ही कौन है. So he said कि this guy is actually nephew of the gangster of this entire city. तो बड़ा gangster है, उसका nephew है ये, right? Just be careful. And because this boy was practicing Krishna consciousness so nicely, he wanted to dedicate himself and join. So Prithu was like, yeah, sure, come, right? And of course, the parents of this boy had a problem, and they complained to this uncle, भाई कुछ करो, ये क्या चल रहा है, ये क्या है ये सब, right? ये घर पे आता है, he's given up, smoking, drinking, he's wearing this, war paint on his head, he's trying to shave his head. What is all this? And he's, wearing some bed sheets. So ये क्या है? So this person, he goes and वो church में enter करते हैं, and he talks to Prithu Prabhu. He says कि you leave my nephew alone, right? I'm warning you, like that. So पूरा धमकी देता है. So Prithu Prabhu said कि look, we have not forced him. हम लोग कोई उसको ऐसा पकड़ के नहीं रखा है यहाँ पे. If he wants to go, he's free to go. If he wants to come, I'm not going to stop him to come. Right? Krishna consciousness is available to everyone. If he wants to come and take that, I'm not going to stop him. If you want to join, I'll welcome him. So he's like, how dare you say this, etc. And you don't know who I am, this and that. ऐसा करके he walked off. So the father was, church का father was like literally shaking. He was पता नहीं क्या church को उड़ा देगा शायद. So he was literally shaking. I'm like, what have you done? Right? I told you this is like the gangster of the entire city. ये माफिया भाई सब डरते इससे. Are you crazy? What you've done? Right? Don't you fear death? So Prithu Prabhu quotes, मारे कृष्णा राखे कृष्ण मारे नारे. Right? If Krishna wants me to die, who can save me? If he wants me to be saved, who can kill me? Right? So he had that firm faith in the Lord. And oh, Father डर रहा था. So what happened was, as soon as this guy stepped out, he went अपनी गाड़ी में बैठा और जा रहा था. One of the rival gangs had planted a bomb. Man. Poof. Uncle ऊपर. Right? So, when we show confidence in Krishna, right? Yes, you are there. Right? Like Prahlad Maharaj showed confidence in Krishna. Pillar mein hai, is right there. When you show that confidence, right? आपका confidence का लाज रखने के लिए कृष्ण आ जाते हैं. So he's already there as Paramatma in every atom, like we discussed. But Narasimhadev manifested in that pillar. Why? Because of the faith of Prahlad. He showed that faith and confidence in Krishna, and Krishna reciprocated to that confidence that yes, I am here. And who said I'm not there? So everything is working under his will, and he can manifest and unmanifest anything at any point in time. We may think, मैं इतना कमा लूंगा, I am all set. या मैं इतना मेहनत कर लूंगा, ये पोजीशन मिल जाएगा, I am settled. Right? In one shot, just like this, everything can be taken away from you. In one shot. Right? And in one shot, everything can be given to you also. Right? Everyone would want to हाँ मेरे given वाले category में आने भाई एक shot में दे दो यार क्यों wait कर रहे हो? Right? You want to be in the category of to be given? नहीं? हाँ? नहीं?
देखिए तो जी whatever we get without effort,
हाँ.
don't stay with it. So
नहीं, what if the Lord wants? भगवान ही दे रहे, तो क्यों नहीं दे रहे?
greed आने वाली है.
हाँ?
Greed आने वाली है.
Greed आता है. But would you like to be there or not? वो बाकी सब छोड़ दो.
Yeah, so reasonable amount with efforts is worth.
हाँ.
Okay, this is for what we are everybody is working for certain thing. Right? So a reasonable amount with reasonable efforts are okay. If something comes out of one
Out of the blue.
so that becomes that won't stay because people don't know then how to handle it and how to manage it.
Correct.
That is more important.
Very nice. Yes. So yes, we all want to be in the category of given. We all want. We have so many desires to fulfill, etc. So the simple formula is deserve before you desire. Like Prabhuji very nicely mentioned. So make yourself deserving. When Krishna sees that this person, इसको थोड़ा ज़्यादा पैसा मिल जाएगा, ज़्यादा comforts मिल जाएंगे, he'll be on his own trip, right? He won't be able to handle the money, like he said, or handle the opulence, right? So he won't give, no matter how much you pray. कितना भी आप कर लो, भगवान he's like a parent, he knows, ठीक है, क्या जरूरत है, कितना देना है. But when he sees that yes, internally you are transformed, right? You are qualified. Your desires are to serve the Lord and to utilize resources to the degree you are able to utilize the resources which you have now in service of the Lord. To that degree, you will get more and more resources. Same with time. जितना भगवान के लिए यूज करोगे उतना टाइम मिलेगा, right? जितना पैसा भगवान के लिए यूज करोगे उतना मिलेगा, right? It's like an investment डालते ना, तो जो पता होगा, आपको पता होगा, right? Investment returns आता है. It's not a black hole कि सिर्फ जाएगा, आएगा भी, right? So it's like that. You invest something, you will get the returns. You don't invest anything, क्या मिलेगा? Yes.
He had shared with me
हाँ.
that how in Dubai they were contributing.
The Prabhuji I wanted to meet.
That some one family vowed to give so much and so good yogi for and somebody else had come. So then there was like an auction kind of thing for donation. Whoever wants to donate 40 USD.
Yeah, this is a nice time for donations. Yes.
So then this might have. So then there was this family. They were not so well to do. Okay. And suddenly that Prabhu like Albert Claude, he knows how to like preach, right? So he knows how to get money. So he was like, who wants to give 70 lakh, 80 lakh? So he was just like saying it out. And then that Prabhu, he didn't even know that. He knew that at that point of time, he didn't have so much money. But then somehow he just felt like, I don't know.
Pledging.
Yeah, he just pledged. And he's like, I'll give 70 lakh. And then he didn't have that money. And then like when they announced his name, his wife was like, what's happening?
कहाँ से लाएंगे?
And then that Prabhu was like, no, he just pledged. And then later, just the next week, he got a contract with that same 70 lakh amount only. And then he gave that entire check pretty away.
Amazing.
And that's been like his biggest contract so far.
Similarly, I think we have a temple in Bhiwandi now. So yeah, so that temple, how it came up was there's one devotee who was preaching to this family, and he said, "Ki we are trying to open a temple like that." So this person said, "Ki ha, he decided in his mind. He did not even spell out. He decided in the mind. Ki theek hai, I've invested something in this particular share, some very small amount, very small amount he invested in one particular stock. Like isme jo bhi aayega, I will donate, right?" And then he and they required some 2.5 crore rupees to buy a plot, and there was a bungalow there to convert that into temple, and they were collecting. In 1 month's time, right? That stock, which was probably bought for very dirt cheap price, got converted into 2.5 crores exactly. And he gave the entire money, and immediately they bought the plot. Okay. So yeah, if Krishna wants his plan, he can do it through any medium. You actually should have the sincerity to kind of go ahead and try to do something for the Lord. So yeah, good. I think good time for asking donations. So I'll tell you a story and then we'll ask for donations also. So actually, a very nice time is coming. So we have Gaur Purnima. Yeah, it's 2:00. We're hungry. So Gaur Purnima is coming. This appearance day of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And just before that, on the 4th of March, we have something called as the Shantipur Festival. Right. So I'll into myself try and tell you the pastime. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, right? And Advaitacharya is actually an incarnation of Mahavishnu, or Sadashiv. Actually, some people say Mahavishnu, some people say Sadashiv. Yeah. So Advaitacharya is actually god brother, or his god brother is Ishwar Puri, who's guru of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and both Advaitacharya and Ishwar Puri's spiritual master is Madhavendra Puri. So this Shantipur festival is actually the disappearance day of Srila Madhavendra Puri, who jinka pastime Chaitanya Mahaprabhu relishes. And what is his pastime? So Sri Madhavendra Puri, he was actually living in Vrindavan, in that area, and he discovered one day. So he is a great Vaishnava. He's actually someone who is one of the great acharyas in a line to start the Madhurya Rasa kind of initiation of Madhurya Rasa from him. So he was once sitting in Vrindavan. He had taken an Ajachak Vrat. Ajachak Vrat means that he won't go out to beg for food, right? Sannyasis normally, or renunciates, they would typically go out and beg for food, and they would just live off whatever they get from 1 or 2 houses. That's it. He had taken an even more stricter vow, Ajachak Vrat, where he decided that, I won't eat anything. I will just focus on my bhajan till the time someone comes and gives me. I'll sit in one place and do my bhajan. And he was sitting remotely in one of the forests of Vrindavan. He was sitting there. So कोई आएगा, भगवान की इच्छा होगी मैं खाऊंगा तो कोई आके देके जाएगा. I don't need to even put an effort to go out and get something. Right? Again, it's extremely high level, not to be imitated, right? ऐसे मत बिचारेगा कोई आएगा देगा तो काम ऐसा मत करना. So he was sitting, and then one day one boy came, because past 2 days nobody had come. He was sitting in a very remote location. So one day one boy came and like here's milk for you, right? And he said, "Hey, how did you come here?" So he said, "Mere gaon mein koi bhuka nahi sota, lo." And I'll come back to take the pot. So then he drank the milk, and it was so amazingly tasty, right? And peete unko neend aa gaya and he slept. So in the dream, he dreamt of the same boy. And then that boy said, "Oh, actually, मेरे को यहाँ पे गाड़ के रखा है, मुझे बहुत गर्मी लग रहा है, please pull me out." So his dream broke, and he understood, hey, this is Krishna, right? And then he went to the spot that was described in the dream, and Hare Krishna. Open. Achha, sir. So he went to the spot and described, he went to the spot that was described in the dream, and he asked the villagers to actually dig it up. So वहां से गोपाल जी का मूर्ति manifest हुआ, right? गोपाल जी whom you see in श्रीनाथ जी मंदिर में, right? गोपाल deity हवेली, right? So that's the deity that got manifested from there. वहां पे हाँ नाथद्वारा, correct. So dream में पूरा description था. There's a cow who comes and gives milk at that spot every day. So वहीं पे खोदा, वहां से श्रीनाथ जी प्रकट हुए. And then he established the worship of Srinathji on top of Govardhan Hill, by engaging all the different villages. Srinathji Rajasthan में है, नाथद्वारा, उज्जैन उदयपुर से I think 2 घंटे का रास्ता है. तो वहां पे डीटी शिफ्ट हुए वृंदावन से. पहले ओरिजिनली वृंदावन में थे, गोवर्धन में. तो गोवर्धन में ऊपर उनका वर्शिप महेंद्रपुरी ने एस्टैब्लिश किया. फिर कुछ महीने बाद अगेन Srinath ji or Gopal ji came in his dream and said, I am really still feeling a lot of heat because I was dug inside, still feeling a lot of heat. I want Chandan to be applied to my body. So Madhurendra Puri walked from Vrindavan till Orissa, right? He did not think, अरे हाँ चलो, मैं किसी disciple को भेज देता हूँ या कोई और चला जाएगा, right? या मैं कैसे लेके आऊँगा Chandan, right? Because those days he's walking and he has to bring a lot of wood. उठा के कैसे लेके आएंगे? First of all, walking thousands of kilometers and then carrying wood for more thousands of kilometers and going back. Without a second thought, immediately he started. Right? He walked from Vrindavan till Orissa. And Raste mein he had to stop at Remona, which is again in Orissa, before reaching Puri. Stopped at Remona. And there, when he was sleeping at night, he went to one of the temples called Khirchor Gopinath, called Gopinath temple. So this temple, the deity is carved by Lord Ramchandra himself with his arrow. There's a deity of Gopinath. Gopinath is form of Krishna. So वहां पर he was there during the evening आरती, and भगवान को एक very special खीर भोग लगाया जाता है. It's called as अमृत केली. So जैसे ही वो खीर offering के लिए आया, Madhurendra Puri thought, only if I can taste this kheer, I'll make the same kheer for Gopal. Right? His attitude or mode was कि I want to serve Gopal by giving him the same kheer. अगर वो चखने मिल जाए तो I will know how to make it and I'll make it for Gopal. Experts cook, वो चख करके स्मेल करके replicate कर सकते हैं. So then immediately the second thought came कि अरे, how sinful I am. भगवान को भोग लगा भी नहीं है, and I'm thinking I should be able to taste. Right? This is so much offensive mentality. So immediately left the temple and went out. तो रात को वो पुजारी के सपने में आया, बोला कि मेरा एक डिवोटी है, ये गोपीनाथ खुद आए, बोला मेरा एक डिवोटी है माधवेंद्र पुरी करके, you go give him, I've एक पॉट मैंने साइड में रख दिया है उनके लिए, जितना भोग लगा उसमें से एक पॉट भगवान ने साइड में कर लिया, वो माधवेंद्र पुरी लिख लिया, उनको जाके देख के आऊँ. So he was like, अरे 8 पॉट लगते हैं और कितने निकाले? He was trying to calculate. I was like, ये ड्रीम सही है क्या? So he immediately went at night and opened the door and he actually found भगवान ने अपने धोती के पीछे ऐसा पॉट रखा था खीर का, right? So then he went with that kheer in the market and like Madhavendra Puri चिल्लाने लगे. So then Madhavendra Puri got up like, अरे कौन मेरा नाम बुला रहा है रात को? So then he gave him the pot like, here, Gopal ji stole this pot for you. So उस दिन से वो डीटी का नाम पड़ गया खीर चोर गोपीनाथ. Right? This is in Remuna in Orissa. So
near Baleshwar.
Bhubaneswar. So वहां से फिर माधवेंद्र पुरी he accepted, he in fact वो pot का भी चूरा करके धीरे धीरे लेने लगा as महाप्रसाद, because Lord himself stole that pot for him. And by the time he reached Orissa, his fame already reached Orissa. Lord stole a pot for this devotee. So the king of Orissa, he arranged everything. उन्होंने सारा चंदन वंदन कटवा करके अपना पूरा आर्मी भेज दिया कि जाओ आर्मी के साथ में लेके जाओ चंदन को वापस गोपाल जी के लिए. So they were returning and they again stopped in the same location in the Gopinath temple to spend the night. So again Gopal ji came in dream of Madhavendra Puri and told him कि मेरे में और गोपीनाथ में कोई अंतर नहीं है. I am same as Gopinath. You can apply this chandan to Gopinath directly and I'll receive it like that. So then वो चंदन को घिस करके उसको पूरा लेप बना करके गोपीनाथ जी को वहां पे लगाया गया, and that became the Chandan Yatra festival which lasted for 21 days like that. So अभी भी हम वैष्णव कैलेंडर में देखेंगे तो चंदन यात्रा सेलिब्रेट करते हैं जो कि 21 दिन का रहता है, which is typically during the summer season because the Lord feels a lot of heat, तो उनको चंदन लगाते हैं. So this is the pastime of Srila Madhvendra Puri. There are many more pastimes again, but this is one or two pastimes of Madhvendra Puri. So 4th of March is actually the disappearance day of Madhvendra Puri. And उस दिन पे Advaitacharya, who's one of the disciples of Madhvendra Puri, holds a massive feast for all the devotees. Right? तो गुरु के तिरुभाव दिवस पे सब लोग सारे वैष्णव को बुला करके उनको प्रसाद खिलाया जाता है. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself went to that feast. And they had cooked so much food, such variety. There is a huge description. There's an entire chapter describing what all was cooked, how it was cooked, right? Rice is a rakho to there'll be ghee oozing out of it. So all those descriptions are there, right? So that kind of feast was distributed to all the people. And it is said, Mahaprabhu declared that anyone who eats this Mahaprasad in Shantipur on this day will attain love of God. Like that. So even demigods, they disguise, still today, they disguise themselves and come as normal human beings and eat prasad at Shantipur festival. So we are planning to hold a small Shantipur festival here, right? It's a small initiative from our side. So in which we can, invite some more Vaishnavas, sadhus and devotees in the temple only. And hopefully we can feed maybe 500-600 people, right? So requesting you all, I'll be putting some personal donation as well. And this is not arranged by the temple. This is our group only. We will go ahead and try and do this festival. So as much as you all can donate, it's welcome so that we can actually arrange in the type of building a prasad banana and distribute to people. Okay. If one has the capacity to give 1 rupee, that 1 rupee is welcome. If one has the capacity to give some million rupees are welcome. Right. Right. Yatha Shakti. Hare Krishna. Okay, any questions? Any questions, any reflections? Yes.
So what we learned today that Krishna has control over everything.
Yes.
So I don't doubt that anyway, but I just wanted to ask that why are the bad things happening? Why doesn't everything good happen? Like
Very nice question.
Why there was wickedness in Duryodhana, and if means I don't doubt that. When Krishna had control over everything, why didn't he turn everyone's soul pure? That there is no bad thought, there's nothing bad happening.
Very nice question. Yes, very nice question. So anyone would like to attempt to answer this? Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, to give a lesson to the whole society, otherwise what lesson?
Okay. Any other thoughts?
Given.
Any other thoughts? Anyone?
Your free will also, because
Yes.
of free will.
Yes. Any other points?
So actually Krishna has taken this effort to turn every Atma pure, every Jivatma pure by Harinam. But then like she said free will, we are not taking it.
Okay, online?
स्टेटमेंट था कि अगर मैं चाहता तो उसको मैं वो कोई महामारी मतलब प्लेन बना के भी चूज कर सकता था. इम्पोर्टेंट टू गिव अ लेसन आल्सो कि ओके ऐसा करने पे ये दैट्स व्हाई पीपल विल प्रोक्रिएट.
Okay, we'll wrap it up quickly, thoda. But to answer your question, yes, I'll kind of combine what all people have said. So, why bad things happen to good people? So for that, you first need to understand why the material creation was created. हम क्यों आए यहाँ पर? कहाँ से आए? Right? So we are all Jivatmas, part and parcel of Krishna, right? We are all servants of Krishna. जैसे ये उंगली मेरा body का part है. The duty of the finger is to serve the whole body. And if I put the fingers put the food in mouth, then the fingers are automatically nourished. If I try to separately enjoy food, will fingers be able to enjoy food? They won't be able to. So my very nature is to serve the Supreme Lord. By constitution, I am created like that. Right? I'm part and parcel of the universe. And by constitution, I'm supposed to be happy. Right? Satchid Anand, right? I'm made out of happiness. So why do I suffer? Because we wanted to enjoy separately from the Lord. So Lord, He is not just like Father, right? He has a relationship with you. Your Father has a relationship with you, right? Now you want to do something independently. nahi, mere ko ye karna hai. Father may have another opinion, right? But you persist, nahi, mujhe karna hi hai. What he will do? ठीक है भाई जाओ करो. Correct? So he gave you your independence or your free will. He allowed you to exercise your free will. If you say कि नहीं फादर को तो एकदम स्ट्रिक्ट बन के जैसा उनको चाहिए वैसे ही कराना चाहिए आपको. Is that okay with you? Right? क्या हो जाएगा हम रोबोट बन जाएंगे. फादर बोले उठ जाएंगे बैठ जाएंगे. Right? There won't be any loving exchanges. It'll be like operating a robot. Right? Now your father deserves your love. Therefore he gives you free will. Right? Krishna is the supreme father. Does he not deserve love? Right? He deserves love of everyone. Right? He doesn't want a forced relationship. He doesn't want to program you. कि इसका दिमाग चेंज कर देते चलो सॉफ्टवेयर ही बदल जाएगा तो फिर जो बोलूंगा मानेंगे ऐसा नहीं. He wants love which is born out of free will. So he's given us independence, right? How to act. Everything is in Krishna's control. He's set up a system. The government ने एक system लगाया है. Signal है, लाल बत्ती है, किसी ने तोड़ा, बाजू में एक हवलदार है. Government को खुद नहीं आना पड़ेगा. बाजू में एक हवलदार है, appointed person to catch you. Similarly, everything is under control of Krishna, and that's what we read in the Slokas. Krishna is everything is manifested from Krishna. He's controlling everything, yet he's aloof. Right? He set the system. आप system को follow करोगे, you will earn punya. System को follow नहीं करोगे, you will get papa. You will be punished. Right? अगर फिर भगवद गीता पढ़ के ये समझोगे कि भाई ये सिस्टम क्या है, इसको कंट्रोल कौन कर रहा है, उसको वर्शिप करोगे, बाहर आ जाओगे. Right? Is that okay? Hare Krishna. So bad things happen to us because it's our own karma also. It may not be immediate this life karma. Some previous life karma also comes back. It's a system already set. Every action equal and opposite reaction. Okay, we'll stop here. Hare Krishna is already 2:15. Already overboard. Everyone will be humble. So sorry, I still feel like saying one more thing. Okay, next class onwards, everyone should have some reflection. Taking away from the class. So it is said that if you are hearing attentively, enthusiastically, right? If you are hearing, giving your concentration, something or the other will strike you in the class because you'll be able to relate with something, maybe one point, if not the entire class, and that will stick with you. You will आपको याद रहेगा. अगर आप casually खाली सुनते रहेंगे तो फिर याद नहीं रहेगा. Right? So request is to be attentive, right, and actually take something back, right? So every time when I ask for reflection, the reflection is something that you connected with, something that you're taking back. So if you hear attentively, right, you will have something or the other. And when you're actually in some situation, ये याद आएगा, right? वरना याद नहीं आएगा. Okay, Hare Krishna. Prasadam strikes every day. Every few hours.
Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
I just wanted to ask, you were talking about that feast that we can donate on. So when is the time we can donate?
4th of March is when you're planning this festival. The time you can donate is you all can reach out to either myself or Parthapriya Prabhu, and we can let you know how to donate, etc. You can donate, of course, before the festival so that we can make some arrangements. So at least by maybe 30th of February. Sorry, 28th. I forgot. Yeah, 28th of Feb. You can kindly plan your donations. At least by that time, you can donate right now also if you want. Completely fine. Yeah.
Perfect.
What's your good name, Prabhu?
Prince.
Oh, okay.
Prince Arora.
Okay. All right. So we'll stop here. Hare Krishna.